This is our next session of our sort of well-being month. So happy me, happy business, happy body, happy business. So Hayley's the next guest that we've got for our well-being month, and we're going to be talking about all about meditation and some other little bits and bobs that we've been chatting before coming onto this call. So thanks for joining us, Hayley. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Really good. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday.
How's the weekend been?
Yeah, it's been good, thank you. Just sort of chilling out with the kids and getting things ready, all the normal mum stuff. So yeah, it's nice.
Looking forward to kids going back to school?
Do you know what? I am and I'm not. It's gone really quickly this time. So I've enjoyed having them actually. And I think the weather's been really kind. So we've managed to get out and do a lot, which has been great. And I'm kind of at that mindset at the minute where mine are getting older, I'm limited to how many more summers are going to actually want to hang out with me. So yeah, it's been nice.
Definitely. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You're the owner of Phoenix Fitness, but there's more to you than just a PT fitness instructor, isn't there? How have you got? What do you do, and how do you do it?
So yeah, I'm co-owner of Phoenix Fitness Tenterden. Myself and Lauren founded the company last year, so it's still a new business. We like to classify ourselves as a holistic gym. So we are very much of the mindset that to find full body health and longevity in your health and fitness, you need to connect both mind and body. So it's not just about the aesthetics and about looking good, it's about feeling good and having a healthy mind as well as a healthy body, because that's where you're going to find true health and you're going to find a passion for it and find it easier to stay within your journey of whatever it is that makes you smile to keep you moving and keep you fit and healthy.
Yeah, cool. So you join us today in a Facebook group full of busy professionals. They're pet groomers, their parents, their wives, husbands. You know, really, everyone's got really busy lives now, haven't they? So I thought it'd be really important to have someone like yourself come in and talk to us all a bit about meditation and how to start slowing things down. There are busy brains.
Yeah, busy brains. And having trained with me, Bill, you know that I am very busy brained. So I think anybody actually who comes along to the classes wouldn't necessarily expect me to be somebody who practices meditation or who is as into the wellness side of it as I am. And actually it's a huge part of my self strategy to maintain my own mental health and to kind of keep focus as well. So people will start on their meditation journey for all sorts of different reasons. I think for me and for a lot of people, particularly if you do have busy lifestyles like most of us do now, it is to find some stillness within ourselves and within our day, but also to be comfortable with that calm and to be comfortable with the nothing. So for somebody like myself, I can find it very uncomfortable to be in silence or to not be doing something. So it's really important for me to address that, to make sure that I'm balanced and that I'm not just always 10 to the dozen. So I think that's something to kind of bear in mind as to why people start on a journey with meditation and to find a bit of peace. And what is it that you want to gain from meditating?
I struggle. I certainly struggle with that. I wherever I go, whatever room I'm in or whatever I'm doing, I have to have something on in the background. I just can't. I don't know. I just can't let my brain just
be.
Yeah, talk to myself. I'm like, it'd just be so busy, so much going on. I just need that distraction.
Yeah. And I think, again, that's actually a really good point, because I think with meditation, people get worried about it because they believe it to be, you have to completely calm your mind and you have to clear it. But actually, that's a really hard thing to do, to just completely clear your mind. So you have to train yourself to be able to get to a stage where you can empty your mind. And actually, when you first start embarking on a meditative journey, it's more about acknowledging your thoughts and saying, yeah, okay, I acknowledge that, I accept it. I know that I can, that's something that perhaps I have to deal with, and either park it or just move on from it. I think a lot of people find it quite a pressure to try and sit in stillness and sit in calm. And then you end up getting frustrated with yourself when you get these thoughts coming in. So something that I did when I first started meditating, I used an app. There's loads of different apps available at the moment that can use guided meditations, just to help you get into that pattern and get into the right mindset of how to go into a meditative state. So they're really useful if you are just starting out. And I also kept a notebook with me. So I would, because I do have an extremely busy brain, I'm ADHD, I get lots of different thoughts come through and they're quite erratic. When I've started meditating, I would write down the things that I could deal with and that needed prioritizing, and was something that in my immediate life I could sort, it was something that I could clear and then tick off the list, as it were. So I used a notebook, and I would write those down, and the other ones I'd acknowledge, accept, and move, just let it go for the time being. So I think it's an important step to make, or certainly something to be mindful of, is that when you first start meditating, you'll be extremely lucky if you can just clear your mind straight away. And if you can, keep doing it, because you'll get a lot from it. But don't be put off by those thoughts. It does, you learn how to process them, and you will get to a stage where actually you find it much calmer and much easier to silence the noise. But it's a process.
So that journal that you had, was that just like a brain dump before you started meditating, or was that part of the meditation?
It was part of it. So I started off by doing 2 minutes worth. So I'd just literally do 2 minutes of meditation, and it would be a guided meditation. And then right afterwards, I sort of came out of it, I'd write everything down. So you can, things that you can acknowledge and things that I thought, well, actually, that's something I can deal with. And for me, because I have such a busy head anyway, it gave me a bit of strategy, really, and a bit of focus on how I can actually gain more control in my life as well. So therefore, when I was trying to then meditate again, I'd already dealt with those thoughts, so they weren't reoccurring. So rather than having reoccurring thoughts, I was dealing with it one at a time, and then my meditative process became much clearer and much easier for me. It might not necessarily work for everybody, but that for me was something that I found really useful. And just baby steps as you first start, 2 minutes, 1 minute, as long as you feel comfortable for. And you don't have to, for some people, meditating is being outside, taking your shoes and socks off and grounding your feet and just listening to the noises around you. It doesn't have to be complete silence. So it needs to be something that sits well with you, where you feel comfortable and where you feel at peace. And that in turn is going to help you to feel at peace in your own head.
So like, I think this is the way I think. I always have to have some kind of purpose to what I'm doing. So the purpose of meditation really is kind of stopping you, isn't it? It's putting like an intervention into your life. It's like stopping what you're doing and taking that time out. And whether you're sitting there peacefully or maybe gardening or something like that, it could all be meditation, couldn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It's different forms. I mean, I love walking. As you know, I've got dogs. So for me, part of my meditation process is a walking, and I walk in silence. To me, I'll have music, but most of the time I'm just in my own head. And that's where I get a lot of ideas from, or it's where I'll have. I think where a lot of people can probably relate as well, where you have conversations by yourself, but with somebody else, of how things could go. You kind of go. It's that whole process of clearing your head. So it's not necessarily emptying it, but it can be any form, bath time, perfect place to have a meditation, put some crystals in, you're comfortable, you're warm, and it's taking that time out for you to reconnect with yourself and to sit comfortably in that silence, so that there can be a reconnection process, and there can be that time where you are allowing yourself to be calm, which again, I find very hard, or I have done previously. I find it much easier now, but that calmness was always very uncomfortable. And for me, the purpose of meditation is to get comfortable with the silence and with the calm, and to just allow myself to be me, and to know that that's okay.
And I suppose when we become really busy and excuse me, really stressed with things like I don't know, going out for a walk might be a bit overwhelming, and then it's like a downward spiral, isn't it? So I suppose having something like that that you turn to when you're getting stressed and worn out and overwhelmed, you're like, have to kind of drag yourself out for a walk, or make yourself do some fitness, or make yourself do some meditation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because it's the whole reason why you feel like that is because you need to meditate, or you need to, you know, find a time to move, or to take that time out for yourself, whatever that might be that sits well with you. But sometimes you're right, the pressure of it is overwhelming, but it's even more reason to take that time. So it's baby steps. It's finding something that works well for you. It might be, as you first start out within your journey into sort of wellness, is that actually it's music. You play a song that you know you can connect with, and that you know that calms you, and you just stand in a room on your own and you listen to that song. That's a meditation in itself, and music is a really good form of meditation because it can lead you places. So it takes you to places where otherwise you might be uncomfortable, without the pressure of just sitting in silence.
So are there different forms of meditation? I suppose a lot of people think like of people sitting around cross-legged and stuff like that, but it could be anything.
Yeah, and again, I like that process because for me, I'm a bit of a hippie at heart, and I use a lot of crystals as well. So for me, I like to now, not at first, but now I like to sit in my treatment room, because this is filled with my energy. This is where I do my Reiki, and for me, as soon as I come in here, nobody else is really allowed in this room. So this is for me. I have a meditation cushion, which I like to use, and I have a choice of different crystals and incense that I'll use to get me in the zone, because for me, that's my part of my process. It's almost like a ritual. I smudge my room as well, which clears the energy. So that for me is how I like to do it. So I set the scene. I can sit and I can be. There's certain meditations that I still use, guided ones, which I've used for years now, 2-3 years, same ones, which just for me work really well and I relate to. Having said that, when I first started, I'd sit in my bed. So because finding that time to fit in the meditation was difficult. So I used to do it as soon as I woke up in the morning. I'd do a 2-minute guided meditation and I'd just sit upright in my bed. So there's different ways of doing it so that you can get the most from it, but you make it a ritual is a nice thing, because I think it then becomes part of your daily routine and you make that time for yourself. So now what I tend to do, well, certainly within lockdown, I did absolutely religiously, was I would get up, I'd come downstairs, I'd do my meditation, I'd write 3 gratitudes, 3 things that I was grateful for that day, and then I'd do a stretch flow. So I'd do a little bit of yoga, and that just set my day up, and it gave me a purpose, it cleared my mind, and it made me feel like I was in control of life. So for me, that was quite important.
It's one thing that you can control, isn't it? That routine, you know, your thoughts and how you want your day to pan out. I suppose you are in control of that, can't you? Because
absolutely, yeah. And I think if you can start your day, for me, it's a morning thing. It always has been a morning process, and mostly because it sets you up for the day. So if you wake up and you're feeling a bit groggy, to go through that ritual and go through that process, and that's self-care, because at the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. It's just caring for yourself and taking that time to adjust yourself and to see what you need that day. And particularly with the gratitudes of reminding yourself why you're lucky to have woken up that morning, or why you're lucky to still be here. That was a really important process for me. If I woke up in a bad mood, or if something shitty had happened the night before, and I was carrying that on to the next day, every day is a new day. So it reminded me to be grateful and to look for the good things rather than dwelling on something that had happened previously. So again, it's that acknowledge, accept, move on. And it really helped with my process to do that. I don't like to hold grudges. I'm not somebody who I don't think it doesn't serve me. So if it doesn't serve me and it doesn't give me peace, I need to let it go.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and so a lot of this stuff, you do it via use apps like that you can download and stuff. Can you recommend any?
So the Mind app, that's good if you're just starting out. Gaia is another good one. And then obviously the more sort of adjusted you get to it, and the better and the more practiced you are, you can move into things like theta meditation or theta, which is a very deep meditation where you can start to experience a much deeper, more spiritual experience. So it brings your it's like an outer body experience. So but that's quite a long way down down the line where you can go into those kind of states of mind.
It's a lot of training by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
You need to train yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You need to kind of move through the processes with that, because that's going to bring you to an uncomfortable place, and it's about releasing. So you need to kind of find yourself within your practice and within your meditation to be happy enough to fully let go and to experience a much higher level of meditation. But yeah, that does take quite some practice. I'm not there yet. I've had a couple of experiences where I've been nearly there, but I've held back because I like to be in control. So.
And how often do you actually meditate yourself? Is there, a limit? Is there too much? Is there too little?
I think whenever you feel stressed, take some time out. And if, as I say, it doesn't have to be a really long thing. A 2-minute meditation, as long as it's enough to keep you calm, then that, if you're going to benefit from it, then brilliant. As I say, religiously in COVID lockdown times, I was meditating every day, twice a day. As life does get in the way and you get busier, probably 2 to 3 times a week actively for myself. But I lead meditations within my yoga practice, so I get that time to kind of reconnect and notice things that I need to adjust on myself in doing that practice, doing it for others. But yeah, probably 2 to 3 times a week for me. But they tend to be when I feel overwhelmed and I feel like I need to take time. But I do like to do my gratitudes, and I used to write them down all the time. Now sometimes I write them down, or sometimes I'll say them out loud, so that it's you're putting it out to the universe, as it were, and you're letting the universe know that you're grateful for being, and then you receive back.
So that's quite interesting, and I can't remember the word for it. Well, we were talking about it just before we went live about writing down affirmations. Yeah, do you do affirmations, and what are they, and how can they help you?
So affirmations is all about training your mind or resetting a negative mind. So it's about finding the positive things about yourself. And again, it's a self-love journey, and being happy with yourself and being grateful for everything that you are, rather than focusing on everything you might not be, or you might consider yourself not to be. I use affirmation cards because for me, I can be very self-critical. So using the cards took the responsibility, I guess, out of choosing an affirmation for myself. If I chose one from a set of cards, that for me, that's what you need at that time. So that was what I needed to hear on that particular day. And I do this with my children as well, and it's been really useful with my kids. And it's something that anyone can do. You haven't got to be spiritual or gifted in any way. It's not like telling the future. You're just pulling a card that you're drawn to, which will give you a message, and however you interpret that message is obviously just what you need to hear for yourself that day. So particularly in society as it is at the moment, we are all very self-critical, and there's a lot of things that we see in media or on social networking, and everything's airbrushed, and there's a lot of pressure to look or to be a certain way, and what is considered to be successful. So we tend to downtread ourselves a lot. And by using affirmations, it's rewiring that process so that actually you're saying, yes, I am enough. And what I give, there's only one me, thank God. But there's only one, and you have to note what you bring to the world and what it is that you give, and know our self-worth. So affirmations can really help to do that if you struggle with self-confidence or self-worth or self-belief, or if you feel downtrodden, if you've been in a negative or toxic relationship. It's a really good way, and a very simple way, to bring you back to a state of consciousness where you're aware of what your own worth is and what you bring to the table. One thing that I used to do, and I do is I listen to affirmations at night. And again, I do this with my kids as well. So if they're going particularly through a bit of a tricky phase, I will play affirmations through them while they sleep. So it's the subconscious, and that's what it's about. It is that subconscious rewiring of your thoughts to make you more aware of everything that you have to offer, as opposed to not feeling enough.
I quite like the idea of buying a pack, because some people might struggle to write down positive things about themselves, whereas if you can buy a pack of pre-written affirmations, then select the ones that sort of apply or you feel apply to you at a time, I think that breaks down some of the barrier, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And that's exactly why I got them, because it can be quite an uncomfortable process if you are self-critical. And again, with children, it's a really good way to do it. So you don't look at the card, you just pick it, right, and then the message. Now, for me, ones that have really stuck with me, or ones that I've felt I've really connected with, I've got them stuck all around my house. I've got them on mirrors. So every time I look in a mirror, I'll see that particular affirmation and be like, yeah, Hayley, you're fine. It's okay. Or if I'm going to make my coffee and it's all on my kitchen, my other half like, what are these? But you need to have them, or someone like I do, because sometimes it's just nice to have those reminders. And when you really connect with something like that, you need to be reading that every day, because that is going to rewire your brain subconsciously just by reading it. And it just helps to bring you back to a level of consciousness where we start to become the person that we're meant to be in confidence. And that then transfers into your business. When you think of imposter syndrome, I get that quite a lot, or not so much now, but certainly when we first started out, and every now and then it creeps up again. But it's really good to help with your business as well, because if you believe in yourself, everybody else is going to believe too. But if you're a little bit unsure and I might be able to do that, then who's going to buy your business? Who's going to buy your brand? You have to sell yourself, and all of these things, all the mindfulness, the wealthfulness, it all goes hand in hand with what you're giving out. And if you're giving out that positive energy, that energy comes back. You're bringing in the right customer if you're sending out the right vibe.
Yeah. So, if you're confident, you can put across your prices in a more confident manner, which inspires your customer to be more confident in what you're offering and what you're doing. So hopefully they'll be more willing to pay the higher prices as well. So it's interesting. Affirmations keep coming back to me. It's like a sign. I keep hearing more and more about them. I keep talking. Obviously, I'm doing this wellbeing month, so I think nearly every guest has probably spoken about something like affirmations or taking a break and breathing and stuff like that. But I was in a chiropodist actually with my son. And being the nosy Parker that I am, because of what I used to do as a job, I was like looking around the surgery and looking at everything. And he had affirmations scattered around his sort of room that he worked in. I found that I'd not noticed that before. And obviously people keep mentioning it. I'm starting to see it more. So it's definitely something that I would start to look to try and bring into my life as well.
Becoming more aware, that's the thing. It's the whole sort of process with any kind of self-healing or wellness is becoming more aware and more open. And the more open you become, the more you will see. So I went through a stage where I was waking up a lot in nights, and I was just waking up lots. So I started making a note of the times that I was waking up, and it was 333 or 111, and all of those, that kind of synchronicities that were coming into my life. And I started looking into it and researching it. And I also use angel cards. And again, it's not like tarot or anything like that, but it helps me to pick cards like you would with affirmations. And it just helps you to kind of understand where you're at that stage of your life. And if something's come in and it's a bit crap, to remember that you're just on journeys. Nothing is forever. We move through life. We don't just stop. Everything moves. So you get through the crap times, you get through the fun times as well. It's a circle. It just keeps on moving. But that would be something that would be interesting for you to do as well, is whenever you look at your watch, kind of just subconsciously, make a mental note of what time it is. Or, if you start seeing recurring numbers, make a note of them, because they will have a meaning and a message behind. And that, again, can be quite comforting that you're on the right path. So if you're a little bit unsure, it's another nice way of being like, oh, actually, okay, well, the universe is giving me this, and maybe I should pay attention to it.
Yeah, I wonder if you could get a watch app with affirmations on it. So every time you look at your watch, you can read a little bit.
You can get it on your phone. So I had it an affirmations app on my phone. So sorry, my dogs are starting. Certain times of day, it would just ping me an affirmation up, which was nice. I'd look at my phone and might not have any messages from anybody on there at all, but then I'd have this nice little note saying, you're great, doing a good job, well done. It's it's just a nice little reminder, a bit of boost of the day.
Yeah, and it's little things like I'm worthy of my customers. That alone, if you're a pet groomer, you can have that on your notice board. Or just behind reception or on your computer screen. I'm worthy of my customers, and I'm worthy of the money that I'm charging my customers.
And actually, that was another really good tip that I learned from. Sorry, my dogs have started. A tip that I learned within a wellness group, which I joined, and I was speaking to this girl, and she was really nice. She was really lovely, and she was very sort of switched on with different methods of keeping confident within yourself and knowing where your triggers are. That's important. You need to know where your triggers are so that you can counteract them. And I used to set alarms not only for the affirmations, but I would have alarms set that would say, I am worthy of whatever it was that I was looking to achieve in that month. So you might have a really bad relationship with money. I am worthy of money. I am worthy of success. And success is measured by individuals. It's an individual thing. It's not just how rich you are in money. It's what you want to feel from your life. What do you want to get from your job? Because that's success in itself. So if you break success down into bite-sized pieces, you're going to start to feel much more confident and much more secure within what your life is giving to you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of people do have an obscure vision of success because of the world that we live in. You have to be like multimillionaires and own loads of properties and staff, but sometimes you don't need to do that at all. You could just be little old. It could be you earning enough money to run your household and go on holidays and stuff like that. That's successful, isn't it? Having your business like a few years, that's successful. Having your business for a few months, it's still successful. Every day could be successful.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, and that takes the overwhelming pressure off when you break it into daily or hourly successes. It can be anything. You've completed a class, that's a success, and we need to remember that. I think a lot of people don't even know how they measure their own success. I think they're waiting for society or for their peers to tell them, yeah, you're successful because you've done this. Whereas actually, it doesn't matter about what anybody else's ideas of success are. It's what you want to gain from yourself and from your life. I know what I want from my life. It's not a lot. It's, but to me, it's everything. But I think the place to start to be truly successful is to be happy within yourself and within your life, and to remember that it is a gift and that, you need to be grateful. And in that process, if you can find that happiness and keep it, that will have a knock-on effect on everything else. And success will just start to flow towards you. But it is bite-sized pieces. So you need to I think everybody needs to take the pressure off of must have a mortgage, must be married. That's a big one. And that's one that everybody likes to talk about, or must be in a couple. These things are only important if they're important to you. They don't have to be important. So it's just finding where your own success is and what you want, what you expect to see and feel from that. And for me, it's just really about being happy. I want to spend the rest of my days laughing. And that's, if I can do that, I've won. So
there's one, there's a affirmation, I'm successful.
Yes, there we go. I am successful. I am happy.
Yeah, there you go. So tell us a little bit about crystals. This is not everyone's cup of tea, I'm sure. But
So yeah, I use a lot of different crystals, and I always have done. I've always had this element in me. It's only in my adult years that I've really started to use it to work with, but also to work for me. But even when I was a kid, I was always fascinated with meditating and cards and affirmations and crystals and the whole shebang. So I have an array of crystals. So my favorite is amethyst. That for me is it's just one that I connect with. So I've got 3 crystals that I connect personally with, that are here in their mind, and nobody else is allowed to touch them. And If I'm, feeling a little bit funny, then I'll be drawn towards one of them, and I have to. It's almost like a compulsion. I have to hold it. It has to be near me. Quite often, as I was discussing with you earlier, I will have crystals in my bra. And doing the job that I do, I'm only ever in sports bras. So quite often, if I'm doing yoga and you ever come to a class of mine and stuff comes out, it's just the crystals. It's nothing sinister. They just come out when you're doing different yoga moves. But I love crystals. They have, for me, you can feel the energy, different energies off of different ones. I use them a lot in jewelry, and I use them in my practice. So I will quite often, when I'm meditating, use crystal. I'll also have, as I was saying, incense and smudge and things. But crystals are something that, for me, I come back to probably more often than anything else. And I'll sleep with them depending on which one I feel drawn to. I'll have it under my pillow. And they give you a sense of comfort and well-being, I guess. It's a really difficult one to explain because it's not something that I'm trained in. It's just something that I'm intuitive with when it comes to crystals. I also use a lot of them in my Reiki practice, which I am trained in. So that I use lots of crystals, and that's I use them intuitively, but different ones will relate to different chakras throughout the body, and they help to stimulate and open and clear the chakras. So that's probably why I'm so drawn to them, because I do that practice as well. And that's they go hand in hand. But there's a big wide world of crystals and different ones that you can use. But my advice to anybody who's thinking about introducing it into their practice would be the crystal chooses you. So if you feel drawn to it, that's your one. So don't sort of research and think, I think I like this one. Just go into a shop, have a feel, touch them, whichever one you feel more drawn to, and you think, yeah, that's, or you feel a bit heat off, or a little bit of, it's almost like an electric through your hand, then that's your one.
I wonder if it goes hand in, I don't know if it goes hand in hand with like Reiki, but being attuned to Reiki, and I've had a Reiki trainer on my podcast before, because he teaches people how to do Reiki and Reiki on animals as well. I wonder if that sort of goes with crystals and getting that electricity, like you said, to your hands, and that heat and energy and stuff.
Energy, that's exactly what it is. It's the energy that emanates off of a crystal, and all of them have a different type of energy. And because they are different crystals are associated with the chakras to help to clear any particular chakra. So you'll probably find it does go very much hand in hand with Reiki. If you're drawn to a particular one, that crystal is likely to be the one that you need to clear a particular chakra. So you're likely to be quite blocked in that area, and that's why you need that crystal at that time. So they do go very hand in hand. At the sort of risk of sounding very witchy, there is a science behind it, but it's a spiritual process, and a lot of Reiki practitioners will work intuitively and will work with crystals. Everybody practices slightly differently, but I think it's you do find more of a connection through using crystals, and I use them on people during treatments, and that's had amazing effects. So I could think of one customer or client in particular who we've quite recently started using crystals through the practice, and he's had the best results that we've had during the Reiki for probably two years. I've always used them, but I now use them. I place them, so we use placement, and that's been fascinating actually. And he now has his own collection of a particular crystal, which to him goes very much in his area, his chakra that's always blocked. So.
Just that's really interesting. Tell us a little bit about Reiki if you've got time. What would so obviously you're a Reiki practitioner, but what does I don't know, I'm a very sort of like scientific person. What does Reiki resolve or solve or cure, or what does Reiki do? What's the purpose of Reiki on a person?
The purpose of Reiki is to align your energies and get a sense of well-being. So that's the purpose. My most favorite thing about Reiki is that anyone can do it. For a start, you just have to be attuned. But it's not exclusive to people who are a little bit on the weird side like myself. it's literally anybody can do it. Once you're taught how to do it, you can do it. Children can do it. So it's a fantastic way of self-healing as well. And it has no contraindications. And that for me is the biggest one, because I do sports massage therapy as well. And I do GP referrals. So I have dealt with a lot of people who've come back from injury or illness, a lot of cancer patients that, you know, particularly with blood cancers and things like that, you can't be doing sports massage. You know, you're moving toxins around the body. That's bad for people who are terminally ill. So Reiki offers no touch. So it's a hands-off process, or you can lay hands on, and actually I quite often do. But again, working intuitively, it just depends on who's in front of me. But anybody, literally anybody, regardless of your health state, whether you're extremely healthy or you're really very ill, there is no danger. So it just gives you that sense of well-being. So you have chakras throughout the body, 7 chakras that run down from the crown to the base of your spine. And if you actually were to look at atomically where your lymph nodes are, mm-hmm. they kind of align in the same regions. So it would make sense if you want sort of more of a scientific explanation, if you're blocked within a particular chakra, you're likely to experience pain or discomfort or emotional discomfort, where your body will hold on to emotional stress or emotional trauma. So Reiki helps to clear that pathway so that everything can flow freely, much like it would if you had a toxin build up within the body and the lymphatic system was trying to fight through that. So it gives a sense of release, a sense of well-being and lightness. It's different for everybody. Everybody gets a different experience, and everybody gets a different experience every time. So it's not like you have a treatment and that's going to be exactly the same the next time you have it. It brings something new to the table every time you have it, which is one of the reasons, again, why I love it so much, is because I never know what I'm going to find or what I'm going to experience doing it, as much as the person who's receiving. So it's a beautiful treatment, and I recommend highly to anybody, particularly if you suffer with anxiety, or if you've got any kind of trauma, emotional trauma that you're really finding it's a struggle to let go of. Reiki's an amazing treatment to have to help just release all of that pent up energy that needs to go somewhere. And again, being ADHD, the first time I had it, I'd never felt such a sense of kind of calm and a weight being lifted off my shoulders. And that was quite an experience for me. And that was what having Reiki sent me on my journey to then start practicing it, because I just found it fascinating, the way that it worked, but with no contact, you know. But I knew where they were. I knew where I was blocked. I could tell, you know, that it was clearing. I could feel it. So I gained a lot from it. I could feel a lot from it. But yeah, there wasn't any hands-on. So then it just blew my mind. It was amazing.
Excellent. So, you know, there's something else to think about. So we've got a bit of meditation, some affirmations, mm-hmm. and then potentially like going to get some Reiki as well to help us with our busy lives.
Absolutely. And if you I know an amazing sound healer. She is fantastic. She's in Biddenden, and she is just amazing. She does the most amazing gong therapy. So it's all sound therapy, and that is, particularly if you are on a journey with your wellness and you're quite open to that kind of thing, or you struggle to get into a meditative state, sound healing will really help you to get there quite quickly.
That's interesting as well. Gong healer.
Gong healer, yes. So she's a sound healer. She's shamanic sound healer, and she's just fantastic. And Biddenden, so it's just up the road. She does Sunday sessions. So I can put a link in actually if you'd like onto the group.
Yeah. Does she do it online as well?
Pardon?
Does she do it online? I don't suppose
I can ask her.
do it via Zoom. So if people are listening to this and they've never really given meditation a go, you've sold it to them, they're thinking, yeah, I want to give this a go. What's the sort of first steps? What would you advise their first steps to be?
So find a time of day that's going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I would start with baby steps. Probably even if it's one day a week that you start with at first, and have a bath run yourself a nice bath, have that as your time out, light a couple of candles, take that time out for yourself, and use that to start your meditative process, because water is also really healing, and it's a fantastic thing to use to help you get in that relaxed state. So either first thing in the morning when you're waking up and you're already quite relaxed, or have it when you try and meditate, make it part of your bedtime routine when you have a bath, because water will help you. If you find it hard to kind of switch off, water is going to be an added benefit to help you to stay in a relaxed state of mind.
Lock the dogs away, lock the kids away.
Lock the dogs away. I'm so sorry.
What do you do when you have clients? You lock the dogs away?
Oh God! Well, I my treatment room's been closed for summer because of all of the dogs and the kids and everything at the minute. So yeah, so come September, they'll be going back to work with the fella. So then I'll get a little bit of peace and quiet on my Reiki days, because that is not conducive with relaxing.
No. So things like the Mind app, that's got meditation on it.
Yeah.
That's another one as well.
Gaia app as well, that's another good one. Or I mean, there's so many. Just type it into your app store and there'll be a wealth of them that will come up. I use YouTube. There's some really nice ones on there. I mean, you can meditate in the shower, you can meditate in the bath, and there's some really lovely ones just to help you to guide you through the process. I mean, you can get ones with affirmations in as well. So if you're manifesting something, so if there's something in particular that you want to gain from your meditation, look into a manifestation meditation. That's another knock-on one that you can do there. And it just kind of, it's like supercharging your meditation and supercharging your affirmations and your gratitudes, so that what you're putting out, is really hitting people in the face when you meet them. They'll just feel all that positive, excitable energy coming off of you and be drawn to you, which ultimately is, what is going to make you successful and bring people to you for your businesses as well.
Yeah, excellent. And you're running an event, you run events as part of Phoenix Business. Tell us a little bit about the events that you do.
So we do wellness retreats, which we are really excited about. We've got, and we have still got some spaces available actually on this one. We've got one coming up on the September the 10th, which is a Saturday. It's at Bloomsbury's in Biddenden, and it is on the harvest moon. So we're going to be doing a reconnection kind of moon energy wellness retreat. So we're going to be using the energy of the moon on that wellness day. And it's a mix of sound healing. We'll have actually the lady that I was talking to you about. She's coming in to do some sessions with us for that. We've got yoga, we've got Pilates, we've got breath work, which is something that I also am really into. I love that. I think it's a really good way of controlling anxieties and when you're feeling overwhelmed. Bit of distance Reiki. We've got some people coming in to do lots of different things. It's all online. It's on our page as well. So www.likeaphoenix.co.uk for our wellness stuff on our website. And yes, September the 10th for the harvest moon, the full moon in September, which will be awesome. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming along and telling us all about meditation, Reiki, affirmations. We've covered a lot, actually.
I'm bombarded tonight.
That's been brilliant.
I'm excited.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want that enthusiasm. So, yeah, it's brilliant. Take care.